Welcome to the Weave's Guidebook, Gold Canyon. This weave can really present a group with a lot of difficulties if you don't come in with the right party comp. Armor DPS is extremely important. A party lacking in this is going to struggle to kill quickly enough to open the portal in a timely manner due to the increased durability of armored enemies. It is important to note that Witch Hunter Captain's crit headshots don't auto-kill on gold weaves, but his crit boost to the team can synergize nicely with Grail Knight's level 10 talent, Virtue of Knightly Temper, and with Shade's murderous prowess, so he can still be a solid pick in the right party. Ranger Vet is another staple pick that can struggle in gold weaves, as the Masterwork pistol does not damage super armor except during his ult. Outcast Engineer running Gromrel plated shots can find a great deal more success because of this. If you really feel that you need Ranger Vet for the potential to drop potions, this is the one time throwing axes could actually be of use, due to their ability to do damage to super armored enemies. The end of the map is most easily accomplished with a sprint, so making sure at least one player has a dash is also important to easy victory, even if this means bringing a handmaiden whose only jobs are to trigger spawns and make the sprint at the end. If you are going to sprint the end, make sure to give the sprinter the purple pot at the bottom of the hill right at the beginning of the map. The ongoing spawns are very important for this weave, as you will get most of your essence simply with dealing with them. Every minute and a half, you will alternate between a spawn of 14 Storm Vermin and a spawn of 6 Chaos Warriors. The first spawn trigger on this map is an important one to get right, as it can be very easy to overwhelm your party and lose a lot of people very quickly, therefore costing your team a lot of time. If you start on this map and go down the ramp, you will get halfway down before triggering 18 Storm Vermin, a Rattling Gunner, and 2 Gas Rats, along with the ongoing spawns. Once you make it across the bridge midway through the field following the ramp, you will trigger 3 Plague Monks, Skaven Slaves, a Rattling, a Gas Rat, and a Storm Fiend. If you take the top route, however, you will trigger both of these spawns at once, with a large portion of it coming from behind you. Although it would technically be quicker to deal with both spawns at once, my party has found it much easier to take one spawn at a time, so I would suggest heading down the ramp to begin with, at least until you deal with the specials. We have also found it to be mostly a waste of time to get rid of the Storm Fiend, as he is extremely tanky in a gold wind. You can pretty safely ignore him for the entire weave if you choose to, so long as you aren't trying to camp anywhere. Staying in the first area, there are a couple places you can fight. The first is a camping spot right at the start of the map. If you spawn in, turn around, and remove the vines blocking your path, there is a nice little valley that you can use to funnel enemies into. This is exceptional if you like fighting as a team and have a lot of AoE attacks, like the Coruscation Staff. The issue on this weave becomes Chaos Warriors, which can force their way through the front line, and the Gas Rats, of which there are many. To deal with this, you can also kite around the map. To do this, get all the enemies in one group, run from the bottom of the ramp midway up, and hop off. This will force the enemies to drop down, which will give you ample time to get good damage in on them. Do note that it is generally safer to stay up top on this map, as it is quite easy to bail off the sides of the paths to the bottom of the canyon when you need some space. If you've moved even further forward on the map, another good kite spot is the cliff face with 2 ladders to the right. If you have the enemies clumped up at the bottom and manage to head up the ladder, they actually can't path to you. This forces them all to head around the long way, buying you and your party tons of time, which is especially useful if the portal is already open and you just want the enemies off your back. There's also a cheese spot here on the bottom side of the bridge, but the amount of Gas Rats and Rattlings on this map make this spot very dangerous, so I wouldn't suggest using it unless you're sure they're all dealt with. The next spawn that is dangerous to your spawner doesn't take place until you make it to the tunnel heading into the main canyon. Once you reach here, 2 Assassins and 10 Storm Vermin will spawn, followed eventually by a Gas Rat, a Hook Rat, and a Rattling. If you manage to make it all the way to the clearing, you will also spawn 2 Hook Rats, followed by 2 Gas Rats. This would be a potential time to abuse leaving and rejoining, discussed in the Weave's Guidebook introduction video, but it is also entirely possible to make a loop through here without it if you are moving fast enough. It is preferable not to have to leave and rejoin, as sometimes doing that will break the special's targeting, and they will stay in this area, causing issues for you in the future, as opposed to heading to the party where they can be dealt with while you're all safe. Heading through this final portion of the canyon can be very risky. Suffice it to say that there are several special spawns, many of which are disablers, making this an area you don't want to spend a lot of time in. This is where the purple pot sprinter comes in. Typically, you want to move through this area as a group, making sure to keep disablers off of each other as you move through. Do this for as long as you can, until you're in a position where the sprinter can use the purple pot to get all the way to the portal. You can see in this clip that that wasn't quite a possibility, and that's mostly fine. I drink the purple pot extremely early just to stay safe from the disablers as I move through this area, but there's a speed pot on the way to the end. If you're moving fast enough, many of the disablers won't have time to react to you, and you'll just have to make sure to dodge the leeches, which you'll want to do with the sound cues. The final battle contains 3 waves, with tons of Chaos Warriors and Bestigors, some Berserkers, and a Storm Fiend. For this, you're going to want to kite around, making sure your DPS is shielded. This is a lot of armor that you might have to cut through in a relatively little time, so keeping them alive is imperative. The Storm Fiend can be ledged once you've dealt with everything else, but it can be kind of a pain, so that's a judgment call based on how much time you have left. If you follow these tips and find you're still struggling, consider watching my Weaves Guidebook and introduction video, or reach out to me or any other number of players in the Ranked Weaves Discord, both of which are linked in the description below. If you thought this video was helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. More videos like this one will be going up constantly until I've covered all 160 weaves, so I'll be covering the weave you're stuck on eventually. Take care.